Hello everybody, this is a video response to, I can barely tolerate hearing this anti-Semitic, anti-Israel propaganda, I'm at the stage where I can barely tolerate it. If I can tolerate it at all, which, but it just makes me sick. You know what really makes me sick? Do you know what really makes me sick? Of course you know. I'm so sick and tired of this anti-Israel propaganda. I'm sick and tired of the self-righteousness from the Islamo-fascist leftist alliance. I'm sick and tired of all of it. Sick of it. I'm sick of the non-Muslims who defend themselves being demonized. I'm sick and tired of this whole systematic whitewash of Islamic genocides around the world, It's always the non-Muslims' fault. Always. Islam never did anything wrong. So says the politically correct left. All the while the politically correct left, these cultural Marxists, good-for-nothing traitors, they want to defame America and Western civilization. They want to say, for example, that Christopher Columbus was a mass murderer. All the while they'll justify the atrocities committed by Muhammad. They'll justify Muhammad's ethnic cleansing of the Jews in Yathrib, which later became known as Medina. The Jews built up Yathrib. The Jews were the ones who built up Medina. They were the ones who built up Yathrib, which later became known as Medina, to be more accurate, to be more accurate technically, Or it was then known as Yathrib, and then the Muslims later renamed it to Medina, So the Jews built it up, and of course there were two polytheist Arab tribes which settled alongside the Jewish tribes, And then Muhammad came and ethnically cleansed Yathrib, which later became known as Medina, of its Jewish population. Now, the Jews have contributed a lot to Yathrib, Yathrib, Yathrib was a prosperous place. Yathrib was a prosperous place because of the Jews, and then ever since Muhammad took it over and ethnically cleansed Yathrib of the Jews, ever since Muhammad took over Yathrib and ethnically cleansed Yathrib of the Jews, which resulted in Yathrib, later Medina, becoming under Islamic rule, ever since that, Medina became a backward hellhole. Because, of course, I'm getting off topic here, but this is a video response to the anti-Israel propaganda. As I was saying, I'm sick and tired of the self-righteous bullshit. Pardon my language. I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of Israel being defamed. You support Israel, you get accused of spewing hate. So yeah, I'm sick and tired of this self-righteous BS. If you support Israel, you get accused of spewing hate, you get accused of wanting to ethnically cleanse the land of the poor Palestinians. Never mind the fact that there is no such thing as a Palestinian people anyway. Never mind the fact that there's no such thing as a Palestinian people, and it's all an excuse to fight Israel. That's all it is, an excuse to fight Israel. But anyway, but continuing on, of course, so point is, I'm so sick and tired of this self-righteousness. It's like when I hear anti-Israel propaganda, usually I have an urge to respond, so sometimes I'll just let it go when I'm not in the mood, when I'm not in a politics mood. But I saw this video where someone was crying crocodile tears. Oh, you can't make that kind of world video. Oh, you're making a joke out of Israel killing innocent people on the flotilla. Please. Innocent people on these flotillas. That's a freaking oxymoron, fool. That's an oxymoron. These supposedly innocent people come to shield Hamas and other terrorist groups. You think they're innocent? Well, of course, considering that, according to your own profile, you live in Norway, one of the most anti-Semitic nations out there. And yes, The cultural Marxist establishment, which you are giving help to, which you are fueling with your anti-Semitic hatred, which you are giving aid to with your anti-Semitic hatred. Yes, they're a bunch of hypocrites. I mean, let me give you an example. Remember when there was an Islamo-fascist terrorist attack on a synagogue in Oslo, Norway? Remember that? Remember that? And they were saying, "Oh, don't blame the Islamic terrorists, blame Israel, because that's just a legitimate response to Israel's mistreatment of the poor Palestinians, or they have no other choice, or whatever is the excuse, you know." Hard to keep up with these leftist excuses, but yet I'm pretty good at it, But okay, now the Israeli ambassador to Norway has demanded, or has requested, to be more accurate, the Israeli ambassador to Norway has requested that the Norwegian royal family show solidarity with the Jewish victims from that terrorist attack on a synagogue in Oslo, Norway, and they spent so much energy defaming the Israeli ambassador, attacking her, you know. They spent so much energy attacking her, of course, you know. They spent so much energy in going after her, you know. Instead of the Norwegian royal family just showing solidarity with the Jewish victims, that's what they should have done. They just keep on attacking the Israeli ambassador again, again, and again. So eventually, the Israeli ambassador takes the coward's way out and apologizes, which I believe was stupid. Now, when Anders Behring Breivik went and he shot a bunch of left-wing brainwashed brats on that island, when Anders Behring Breivik shot a bunch of those useful idiot brats on that island, you know, all of a sudden these crocodile tears. They won't be able to send their flotillas to shield terrorists. My God, Norway gives me a headache even thinking about that good for nothing trash nation, because becoming trash under the cultural Marxists. I understand not every Norwegian is like this, but Norway has got to get its act together. And when it came to Anders Behring Breivik, not condoning that attack, don't say that I condoned that attack. Don't say that I praised that attack. Don't say that I'm praising what Anders Behring Breivik did there. Don't say that I'm condoning what Anders Behring Breivik did there. Don't say any of that, please, because I'm not saying any of that. I am not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that those brats on that island got a taste of the very medicine that their terrorist friends dish out to Jews in Israel. Again, I'm going on a tangent, but anyway, let me finish my tangent with this. The Norwegian royal family, which refused to show solidarity with Jewish victims of Islamic terror from a synagogue in Oslo, Norway, they decided to visit that island to show solidarity with those good-for-nothing left-wing trash who were shot by Anders Behring Breivik. So that attack, I think, was an older idiot shooting younger idiots. But I'm on a tangent, you know. But okay, now you know what? Let's just play the video before I go on in another tangent. You understand where I'm coming from. I'm so sick and tired of the appease Islam mentality. I'm so sick and tired of this anti-Semitic hatred of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. What's the difference? But let's play this anti-Semitic hate video right now.
Watching this video is really upsetting to me, not only because they used a song that was written by Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie to raise money for Africa in 1985, but also because it's just a really disgraceful way of reacting to this horrible incident. And nothing can justify what happened, what the IDF soldiers did, the way they killed 9 innocent people. It's just so horrible, and I can't believe that anybody can think this is funny or make fun of this incident. So it's just such a disgrace. I don't even know what else to say. It makes me sick.
Hey, meathead, the IDF soldiers were acting in self-defense. Take a look at the footage, fool, and you can see that it was the flotilla activists who started attacking the IDF soldiers. It was the flotilla activists who started attacking the IDF soldiers. And they were beating the IDF soldiers into a pulp, and they were attacking the IDF soldiers with whatever weapon they had, you know. So the IDF soldiers, who were armed with freaking paintball guns, had to defend themselves. You fool, you know. But for those of you who don't know, that idiot there was referring to the We Con the World video, which is of course a hilarious video which makes fun of the anti-Israel propaganda. The We the Con video, which that idiot was referring to, which that idiot was saying So that idiot who was speaking there, who said that the We Con the World video made her sick, you know. That idiot, as I said, was referring to the We Con the World video, or the We Conned the World video, to be more accurate, you know. That idiot was referring to that video, you know. But that video was hilarious. That video was making fun of the anti-Israel propaganda, and rightly so. That video was hilarious. It was making fun of the anti-Israel propaganda. There's nothing wrong with that. But why are these anti-Semites and these pro-Islamic terrorist jihad apologists, you know, they even feel threatened when people poke fun at them, when people poke fun at their propaganda, because they know that they have no truth. They know that the truth is on our side and not on theirs. They know that and they're worried about that. So they're worried about people making fun of them. They're worried about saying the truth in a parody, even, you know. But you know what? But that woman there who was speaking, she was Norwegian trash, you know. She's like, I mean, it's typical among these cultural Marxist trash in Norway. Remember, Norway has a history of being anti-Semitic. Norway is one of the most anti-Semitic trash nations in Europe, you know. And the Norwegian ambassador to Israel, that piece of garbage, he was saying, well, the attack that Anders Behring Breivik committed against the left-wing fools, that's not the same as Arab terrorism against Israel, because the so-called Palestinians are fighting to end the occupation. Oh, yeah, they're fighting to end the so-called occupation of Tel Aviv, the so-called occupation of Lod, i.e. they're fighting to destroy Israel. But you know what? He's right. The Norwegian ambassador to Israel is right. They're not the same. Because whereas Arab terrorism against Israel is genocidal to the core and is Nazi-like to the core, you can't say that about what Anders Behring Breivik did. What Anders Behring Breivik did, it was a violent outburst. You know, it was not the right thing to do for I don't support engaging in violence like that, you know. I mean, Anders Behring Breivik, I'm not going to say that I agree with his politics, but he did have some legitimate grievances, but he was not justified to engage in violence like that. So don't say that I said that, you know. Anders Behring Breivik was not justified to engage in violence like that. He was wrong to engage in violence like that. Even though those brainwashed brats on that island did, you know, get a taste of the very medicine that their Hamas friends and their other terrorist friends dish out to Jews in Israel. And even though I think one of the organizers of the camp was, of course, a convicted DFLP, Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, terrorist, and the DFLP is a communist faction of the PLO, the DFLP was responsible for a terrorist attack on an Israeli school in Ma'alah, Israel, back in 1974. So the DFLP is a terrorist group, and a convicted terrorist from that group, you know, was one of the organizers of the youth camp. So bottom line, everybody was a bad guy, and I think there's even, and to be honest, I think that I even believe that the Norwegian authorities, you know, that the cultural Marxist establishment, which controls the ruling Labour Party, You know, I think that they may have let Anders Behring Breivik go ballistic. You know, I mean, he attempts to assassinate the prime minister. He goes around attacking government buildings, and then he's not stopped. Instead, they let him go off to Utoya, which reeked with all that anti-Semitic cultural Marxist garbage. You know.